Tom, you're stood at the false entrance to this burial mound. Can you tell us about the sacrificial mini pumpkins?
I can indeed. So, as you'll see here, wedged in against the wall, are sacrificial mini pumpkins. Now, not a lot of people know about sacrificial mini pumpkins, and I'm included in those people. But welcome to the Paranormal Tourists on tour! It's possibly a little bit too grand, wasn't it there? But we're at Belas Knapp. Belas Knapp is an ancient burial mound, which means that it's a sort of hill with dead people inside. And this is one of the false entrances. Now, I'm told that these false entrances behave in a similar way to those on a pyramid. I say behave, they don't really do anything, but if you're thinking about breaking in here and trying to gather some riches from within, there's a good chance that you'll invest a lot of time in pulling big stones away and digging your way into the ground. Maybe it'll even collapse on you and you'll be rewarded with absolutely nothing.
So if that's not the real entrance, Tom, where is the real entrance?
I'm glad you asked, Ross, paranormal expert. Follow me around this way, because as we make our way around the outside, as we go around the burial mound on this blustery day, we in actual fact can make our way to the now opened up and preserved real entrance to the burial mound, which is exciting because it means that we can go inside. It's a little bit of a walk. We're still going, we're still on our way there, and here we are. If I hop down here, you will be able to see the entrance, and inside is none other than Danny Magellan, who I am very, very happily in a household with, so I can go inside too.
Hello there.
Hello! And welcome to the Paranormal Tourists. Now, you'll notice a few things with this particular episode. First of all, you can see us, if you can indeed see us. Some of you might be listening to the audio of this, in which case, sucks to be you.
Still hello.
Still hello.
And hello to you too.
And hello to you too. You'll also notice that we're sitting awkwardly far apart, because in preparation for this episode, we have all been doing the isolating thing to make sure that we could record together. That said, we're all still a bit paranoid, and as much as we like...
Sensible. We're all still a bit sensible.
As much as we like paranormal expert Ross Andrews, Danny Magellan and I are in a household together, so we can comfortably sit right next to each other, but we're keeping Ross Andrews at more than an arm's length, which
At least that's the excuse they've given me.
maybe something that I would
Even though we've
recommend
isolated.
to anybody that spends time with paranormal expert Ross Andrews. But you'll notice that we are, if you're listening to this, you might be thinking, oh, they're a bit echoey with a bit of a gale in the background. And if you're looking at this, you might be thinking, wow, they're inside some kind of strange constructed cave. And you would be correct. We are indeed inside a strange constructed cave. And even stranger than that, we're actually sat inside the open part of a burial mound. This is an ancient burial mound near the small town of Winchcombe.
It's a haunted ancient burial mound. Let's get that
Most
Yeah.
appropriately, a haunted ancient burial ground. Although I
At
feel like,
least 38 bodies are buried here.
is that true? Mm-hmm. It's called Belas Knapp, spelled B-E-L-A-S space K-N-A-P, and it's for the dead people.
And we have spoken about it before on previous episodes,
We have.
so we thought we'd come here and show you what it looks like. But it's bucketing down with rain, or it has been, so we're inside it, so you're not really going to see much other than what you see here. Hopefully we'll get some footage around it. There are actually two other openings where dead bodies have been dragged out of here on the other side, but you have to crawl on your hands and knees to get in. And if we were feeling brave and it hadn't been covered in mud and floods and rain, then we might have done, or Tom valiantly offered to crawl inside it.
They had to stop
no,
me.
Tom, you don't have to. Really.
I was already halfway in, and they pulled me back. I've had a very good wipe down since then. As you'll notice, there's no mud on me. As much as I love being crammed inside a small, dark stone space filled with dead people, they felt it was unnecessary for me to go that far inside. I'm sort of hoping that when you're watching this,
we may still make it happen somehow.
yeah, Yes, I'll be very comfortable with that. I'm sort of hoping on some level you're going to watch this back, and there's going to be like a spooky
Another
entity
person
sat next to us. The ghost skip is sat with us. But certainly it's not an uncomfortable environment to be in. It's a strange experience.
It's actually reasonably warm and sunny out. So.
Yeah, it's a little brighter.
Hopefully we'll put a photograph in of the view from here, but we're looking out across many fields and seeing several people walking towards us who are out on a Halloween ramble across the fields. And I'm seeing people walking towards us, but I'm jumping straight in here, unlike our normal shows, and say one of the ghost stories associated with this are hooded figures walking across the field that we can see, coming across the field and carrying lights and torches and things like that.
I should clarify that we can see the field.
Yes.
We can't regrettably
I
see
can
the
see some hooded figures. One of them's also got a dog.
Another black dog.
But from a ghost hunting point of view, should this be Halloween evening, which it isn't because we're hopefully going to be somewhere else, then this is a great one to be sat in because you can sit inside here looking out across the fields at what one of the reported ghost sightings actually is. So you stand a chance of being warm, dry, inside a burial mound, looking for ghosts. Without actually having to leave.
What more could you want after your Halloween ramble? Which I hope is a thing. I think that's hashtag Halloween ramble. that's
Where are you going? Where did you go on your hashtag Halloween ramble?
I went here.
Email us. Tweet us
Tweet
at
us.
Paratourists, or on our Facebook page. You can find us under the Paranormal Tourists. Let us know. Send us a message. Tweet us a picture.
Find us on Patreon and give us some money.
That's very true. Patreon details being released this weekend.
Yes, absolutely. And money is good, not just because money is unfortunately how the world sort of works, but also the more of a budget that we have, the more exciting things that we can go and do and expose ourselves to for your entertainment.
To you.
How dare you insinuate that this isn't exciting enough?
Well, no, this is very exciting. But one of the glorious things about this is
we could go further afield.
This is very accessible. In the true spirit of the paranormal tourist, this is an incredibly accessible place to get
as we
to.
mentioned, time-wise,
budget-wise,
you could come up here, sat inside this thing, and obviously you're not supposed to. It's but it's totally open. There's no way anyone's going to stop you coming and sitting in here at 2:00 in the morning because we're on a footpath, and so the field is accessible. Wheelchair access is not exactly great.
Yes,
but we did do a ghost hunt here. This is going back about 20 odd years. And a friend of ours, no longer with us unfortunately, was in a long flatbed wheelchair, so it was like basically a bed on wheels. And our group had to bring him all the way across the fields. And then when you get to this particular field, there is a stone stile. If you don't know what that is, there's a couple of steps, and then a bit of a rock here, and then you climb over that, and then a couple of stone steps down. So we had to lift all of that up over the wall to be able to get inside this area here. So it's not great accessibility for wheelchairs. It is possibly doable on a dry day, but it is very wet and muddy today. You wouldn't want to be doing that.
Also, please do be careful wherever you're going. Make sure somebody knows where you're going. Please be sensible. Do not bring alcohol or barbecues or anything like that here. It is a very, very beautiful and ancient...
Actually, yes, to pick up on that, one of the ghost stories actually refers to something that happened here above us, just up there, that technically can't happen because you're not supposed to walk across the top of this burial mound, partly because it was eroding the soil, but there is a ghost story attached, which I think we've talked about on a previous episode, of some people that are having a picnic, and they decided to have a picnic directly above us, about 6 foot up there, and all of a sudden it was a lovely warm day, not particularly windy or anything like that, and then suddenly all of the stuff just went flying up in the air and went absolutely everywhere.
Oh wow!
As though like picked up by a tornado kind of thing or something, and then deposited down. But it wasn't a windy day, and that happened directly above us. But don't go walking across the top. And it's not just from the fact that you're eroding the soil, but we did another ghost hunt here once, and at the end of the burial mound, and I'm sure we will get to show you some photographs of this at some point, there were a load of glowworms.
Oh, wow.
little fluorescent-y, greeny little things and we were going, wow, that's amazing. And obviously in the daytime, if you're walking around, you could be
You're
trampling
not going to be
and they're
seeing
very
them.
rare.
Yes, please always, of all the locations we go to, please be very respectful and very careful.
Yeah, we want to make sure, the Paranormal Tourists,
I say, be very respectful. We're filming a vaguely comedy show inside a tomb.
Inside a
So
tomb.
respectful.
Very respectful of nature.
Look after yourselves. Look after yourselves and look after the places you visit. We want to make sure that these places are preserved and that they are places that people can investigate and enjoy for many years to come. So don't come along and bring a
Ruin
barbecue
them.
and trample the glowworms or cave in Belas Knapp.
Especially this time with COVID, and we're running out of places that people can go to. Although the third book is out. Is it the third book in the series?
Yes.
It's about the fifth book, but it's in the alphabet series is now out. It came out this week. So B2 is out this week. B3 will be hopefully before Christmas, which includes Brighton and Bristol and places like that.
And hopefully Fan Fact will be out around the end of the year. Ish.
ASAP.
ASAP.
Soon. It'll be out soon.
And you can find that on Amazon.
There's some ghosties walking past the entrance to the burial mound, looking at us very strangely as they're walking their dog.
Halloween Ramblers.
Halloween hashtag Halloween Ramble.
I feel like we should have brought a green screen for here. What we'll do, I'll try and edit on a whole bunch of sort of interesting facts that keep coming up on the back wall here.
Follow us on Twitter.
We need one of those cardboard cutouts like they have at sports games at the moment, just like somebody sat in the back.
That's ghost hunters. Now, you may have just heard some kind of screaming, like we just did. I'm guessing, so we can't see it, that is a child out on a Halloween ramble. Hashtag Halloween ramble. But I honestly can't see that person.
But I think it was a real life person rather than a spirit.
One of the disadvantages at the moment with COVID happening is that the places we can get to, certainly in the daytime, have a lot of people going out for walks. And it's Halloween today, and at some point today there's going to be some announcement where the whole of England gets locked down, unless you're exempt, which is the whole of England. And it means that places like this are going to fill up with a lot of people trying to get out and do something with their day. So always take the masks and so on like that wherever you're going. And I don't know if you can see, but we're sat on things like my coat is down here, so I'm not touching something that somebody else has touched. I've got hand gel in my bag as well, so that when we leave, or if I eat a packet of crisps or something like that, I can hand gel my hands in case I've touched something. And when I came up here at the start of lockdown, there were quite a few people walking around. And one thing that a lot of people are going, oh, well, I'm going out for a walk in the country, it'll be absolutely fine, there's nobody there. And I saw every single person that walked past us and went up to a gate and then all opened the same gate, or they were holding onto a fence to come up across a field that was particularly hilly. And those people aren't realising that every single person who's done that has held the same gate. So you may as well have gone into a shop and breathed all over each other. So
don't do that either.
Don't do that.
Yeah, like we're inside a burial mound now. As I said, by the time if I start touching my face or anything like that, then obviously I've got to get hand gel out of my bag and make sure we're safe to do that.
So don't touch Ross's face unless you've washed your hands.
Tom's now panicking about what he's touched.
Do you know anything about the inside of this burial mound?
I know the three of us are in it. The inside would have been much bigger than we're in now.
Yeah.
They found, how many bodies did you?
Well, at least 38. 38 confirmed, according to the...
So as you can see, you wouldn't stack 38 bodies inside this bit.
Not without a lot of force.
Yes. And normally they were done in sort of family groups.
Sure.
So you'd have a little bit that would be dug out where that one household is in, and they socially distance their dead bodies.
Makes sense.
And you'll get that with a lot of burial mounds, the ones you can go into. You can tend to sort of go in through the front, and then there'll be a little bit that goes off that way, a bit goes off that way, and you carry on a bit further, and another one that way, and they're sort of little pods, as it were, for particular families to have been stuck into. In this one, it's collapsed. So what we're sat in now is kind of the remnants of something. But you can see this is particularly well built for a Neolithic burial mound. This is obviously all added later and rebuilt when all of this had collapsed. And some of the sections on the other side, you can see bits that what's remaining of the previous burial mound. But we're sat inside something that's thousands of years old.
Wow.
And haunted.
Yeah, between 3,700 and 3,600 years old, I think, if I've remembered.
Memory fact.
Is that you sense? That's Danny sensing.
Wait,
sensing that.
If she's wrong, it's coming up here now. Oh no, makeshift screen.
I think that's what I read on the sign as I walked in. I don't want anyone to think I've done any research.
Hashtag facts.
That would be
Hashtag facts.
very strange.
Not hashtag
it was
facts.
never on Strange But True, so there's no reason for me to know it.
Now you've got a crowbar, strange but true, and whatever link we've got.
Michael Aspel.
So we're now going to cut here to whatever thing that Danny just told us about and the facts that she has about this particular place. And cut.
So there's a little more information for you about Belas Knapp. Now, whilst we're here, it feels like there's always plenty for us to talk about. So this is going to take us a little bit off tangent in relation to Belas Knapp. So apologies to the spirits of Belas Knapp.
Paying them enough attention.
Hang on, give
Not
us
paying them enough attention.
See if they're bothered. Are you bothered?
Okay. So I'm going to.
The wind's picked up. They're a bit bothered.
And the rain's coming in now, so
Stepping forward.
they better not be bothered. We might be stuck here for a while.
Not quite as intrepid as I was 2 seconds ago. But I thought an interesting thing to bring up. I'm going to talk about two things. An interesting thing I thought to bring up would be the subject of Devil's Chimney.
Ah, yes.
Which sort of relates in a very roundabout way, as much of our links ever do, to Belas Knapp in the fact that it's also in the Cotswolds.
It's about where we're sat now. We're looking about 10 miles
10
in that
miles.
direction. It's technically walkable from here, but I
You
wouldn't
can
want
see
to do
over
that.
there, about 10 miles over there.
So if you go out of there,
Keep going.
for about 10 miles,
If
then
you've hit the
ask
sea,
someone for
you've gone too
directions and
far.
realise you've gone the wrong way.
Now, Devil's Chimney is, first of all, it's somewhere that you can visit. It's sort of an outcrop off the top of Leckhampton Hill, and it's a bit of a walk to get up there. But it's just open area. You can go for an interesting walk up to get there. I probably wouldn't advise doing it at night. You're your own person.
Partly because of the snakes.
Partly because of the snakes,
Oh, of course,
but also
yeah.
it could be you could certainly find yourself going off in the wrong direction.
Should we explain the snakes? There are poisonous snakes up there.
There are
adders.
Particularly in the longer grass areas. But also, Devil's Chimney is on a cliff. Is on a quarry cliff,
I don't know if
and
that just came out in the recording. It was a very strange noise.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. Hang on.
particularly in the longer grass areas.
Like a cow mooing.
Well, there's no one else here.
Did it sound like a cow mooing to you?
Well, I don't know. It sounded like it came from. Right, opposite there. There's a photograph. There's a
ghost.
shot of my bottom. I don't know if that
That's
came out on the
really,
recording at all, but it sounded like it came from
Yeah,
behind
no,
you.
I thought that as well. But
Yeah.
it sounded like a cow mooing
Ghost
from
cow.
within the.
Welcome to Belas Knapp and the Ghost Cows.
I didn't hear
feel a
that, but
title coming on for the show.
I'm looking forward to having a look back over that footage.
Where are we? Wait, okay. I'll
Okay.
look at my audio.
So yes, the Devil's Chimney.
23
It's on the edge of a cliff. Just stepping forward, treading forward, making sure I'm not upsetting. Still making sure I'm not upsetting the spirits
It's
of
on
Belas Knapp.
Leckhampton Hill.
It's on Leckhampton Hill. It is on a cliff's edge, and actually you can't get up to Devil's Chimney itself. You can see it, and you can get a good view of it, but you can't go to the chimney itself. And it's like this strange kind of neat pile of stones with a bit of a flat top, and looks, as the name would suggest, like a chimney. And certainly the legends I've been aware of are, first of all, that it's a chimney that goes all the way down to hell, which I find a little bit far-fetched, if I'm it. And that and that the smoke from hell comes up through the chimney. There's also tales of the devil, upset by the amount of Christian churches in the area, sitting on top of. Must be a very good shot. Sitting on top of the chimney and throwing stones down.
When Cheltenham became famous as a spa town, it had a humongous amount of churches. So that's where that legend came from. The huge amount of churches that were built of various churches, and it still has a lot of churches. And Cheltenham's oldest building is St Mary's Church, which dates back to medieval times. And I say, it makes it sound like Cheltenham was a pious town, but also, after World War II, Cheltenham was the second largest amount of brothels in Britain, Manchester being the first.
Well done, Cheltenham.
It's good to be famous for something.
So it's a strange town. But there's also the other legend of the chimney is that it was made by quarry workers whilst they were up there and just started piling up the stones.
That does sound more believable.
And there's about 3 or 4 different legends, all of which are quite believable. And there is even a name, and I will try and dig it out, and if I can find it, I'll find it, of who actually made it. But the folklore, which I find fascinating more than anything, because it's only really like in 100 years that all these legends have appeared.
Yeah.
And in reality, there's a distinct possibility it was built by a particular person on a particular day for a reason. And I think it might have even been built in memory of some racehorse or something at the races. And so it's one of those that it shows you how quickly legends and tales can really crop up about something when people don't know what they're searching for.
Particularly as people forget stuff, and I think and I'm sure it's undergone a lot more erosion since it first appeared, but what's strange about it is you're sort of stood up there and you're kind of going, how on earth did somebody get this in place? But actually it may well have been that there was more ground,
and it's eroded around
and that's fallen down, and just very luckily the chimney part has.
If you are still at Devil's Chimney, you'll actually possibly be able to see a building that contained possible murder as well. Somebody got murdered that was in one of the tower building, and if we can find that information, I'm going to save that for another time.
Great.
Yes, because it is an interesting story. So that's a cliffhanger. Literally, you're on a cliff at the Devil's Chimney looking down at a murder victim.
Well, I'm about to deliver another cliffhanger, which is my appeal. Now, I have read in one single article from 2012 a report that The Woman in Black, the famous book
by Susan Hill,
and then later play and film, a couple of films, TV film and a Hollywood film, is based on a true story from Lower Slaughter, which is another small Cotswolds town. Now I have been coming back to this article periodically for several years. Like I say, the article itself is from 2012, and
not that Tom can't let things go.
Slaughter is apparently based on, it sounds really grim, but apparently is derived from a word meaning sort of wetland or marshland, which would certainly relate to the story of Woman in Black, the idea of a house surrounded by inaccessible, impassable marshland. But I cannot find any reference to any ghost stories at all from Lower Slaughter, let alone something going on in the background there.
Yeah, that is actual children.
That's children.
That's not
well,
ghosts.
I'm guessing it is.
Real life children.
But I'm assuming that's the sound of children.
But I can't find any reference at all. And paranormal expert Ross Andrews is not aware of any ghost stories. So I'm wondering whether maybe there's something that's like a real local, just because it's not available on the internet or it isn't a book.
Do you want a fun fact about the Slaughters?
I do.
So Upper and Lower Slaughter, after World War II, they were they were 2 of maybe 6 or 7 places in the country, and I think they were known as like double fortunate or something because they lost no one in World War II.
Wow.
So maybe, instead of being haunted, They are blessed.
Maybe they're unhaunted.
But also partly because they contain some large houses with rich families in who managed to not get
Were
themselves
perhaps
drunk.
in
there's the
offices
catchphrase.
rather. Yeah. Be really rich.
There's the loophole.
So, your link to Crowbar Inn is the Lower Slaughters that you know nothing about,
Yeah.
and Belas Knapp,
Excellent.
which Danny has already told us everything she knows about. So
And the
good
devil's
luck.
and the devil's chimney, which apparently is not anything to get too excited
I'm
about.
just trying to think how I can link it to Michael Aspel. Although I have seen the film Woman in Black. With
Michael Aspel in the film.
sadly, Michael Aspel wasn't in the film. They took none of my casting suggestions, and in fact cast Harry Potter in the lead role. Daniel Radcliffe is a great guy. Apparently,
He speaks very highly of you.
he seems it. I've seen him on Graham Norton. I haven't seen much else, and he always seems like a very nice.
This is her
chap.
research. This is her research.
This is research. Graham Norton. Find the clips on YouTube. Very entertaining.
That's why we have paranormal expert Ross Andrews.
But yes, so he was. So I'm going to crowbar in that he played the lead in Woman in Black in the film. I also recommend people watch the play in 400 years' time when theatre's back.
Yeah, you can't watch it now.
Or, as you can do during lockdown, is read the book, because it is a very frightening book. And I think with the book and the play, actually, there are things that can be hidden from you as a viewer, whereas in the film they have to show it, and I think that sort of dulls the spook factor. Anyway, but my crowbar is that Harry
Potter.
Daniel
the Wizard.
Radcliffe was also Harry Potter the Wizard.
Linked to a place we know nothing about.
Maybe linked to nothing.
It's seamless this week, everyone.
But he... no, saliva going down the wrong way. No one panic. He was also a famous wizard, Harry Potter, which was famously filmed in a nearby location, Gloucester Cathedral.
Yes.
And fun fact, my brother was an extra in one of the films because he went to King's School, which is attached to Gloucester Cathedral.
Was he?
Yeah, that's canon.
Now, that is truly paranormal, because for the first time ever, Danny has almost produced a real link that had something to do with where we are.
You're blessed by the spirits of Belas Knapp,
Whoa,
apparently.
You're getting very windy.
Yeah, the wind agrees.
Okay, well, Harry Potter, as you said, King's School is attached to Gloucester Cathedral. If you go out of King's School, of one entrance, you end up in the corridors of Harry Potter, which is filmed in the
Cloisters.
of Gloucester Cathedral. And I think we talked about Gloucester Cathedral before, but it is haunted. And I don't know what the accessibility is at the moment.
No, I think it is open for certain things. I was talking to someone about something. You're welcome. You're all welcome for my wealth of knowledge.
But if you do get into Gloucester Cathedral, it's a fantastic building.
It's beautiful.
And if you, I think it's the right-hand side, the right transept, which contains the ghost of the boy or apprentice that fell from the roof whilst it was being built. And there are ghostly monk figures that have been seen, but whether that's people seeing ghostly monks because they expect to see monks and things in a cathedral, that might be it. But also, if you go outside of Gloucester Cathedral, you'll see the bit from Doctor Who when the rhino creatures turned up and I can't remember which, the last series, whatever. There's a bit filmed in Gloucester.
Yeah.
And then there's the witchcraft shop. There's
the witchcraft shop is, unfortunately, it'll probably be closed as of like Wednesday or whenever, but it is brilliant.
And also Beatrix Potter shop. And if you carry on heading past the Beatrix Potter shop, you'll see a little lane called Bull Lane, I think it is. And there's a little cafe place along there that we investigated a few years ago. We were filming, and I don't know if I've still got the footage, but I'll see if I can dig it out. And we saw some lights moving around whilst we were in there. And we went, wow, this is fantastic. And then a massive banging noise, as though something had fallen over, in the downstairs bar that we had no access to at that time. And we had EMF meters that started going a bit nuts. So we put some compasses, like little magnetic compasses down like that, and they started spinning as though they couldn't find north.
Oh, wow.
And it was a fantastic little investigation we did in a tiny little place. But you can't get in there. Sorry. So I'm going to tell you all about these lovely places you can't go to. One day.
Another gem from the Paranormal Tourists.
Yeah, sorry about that. But in Gloucester, there are Greyfriars. There's a Black Friars, a Greyfriars, and a White Friars. Greyfriars is attached to the library, and I know we've talked about this before, but you can go there, and that has got hooded monk-like figures wandering about, and that's outdoors, so you can get there as well. That's what is that? That's about 12 miles in that direction. And I'm trying to think. We're only about 3 miles from Winchcombe, which we've talked about on previous episodes as well. And you can get to a few places in there, such as Cowl Lane. You can wander around the church, and Sudeley Castle as well, which we will hopefully get to.
Hopefully we will be seeing you live, not live, recorded from Sudeley Castle.
Distinctly
unlive in more ways
Which
than one.
we're now going to pan to on our screen here, or I'm not going to do that and there's just a shot of us all pointing at a wall.